This lab 3, we have 3 steps involved. Step 10A, which is typically referring to the pre-simulation steps setup. And during this stage, the simulation environment is initialized, including setting up the network topologies, configuring the node parameters, and defining the simulation parameters. It also involves preparing the simulation scenario before running the actual simulation. Then forward, we have the step 10B, which is also known as the simulation execution phase, and this is where the simulation runs and the behavior of the network model is observed over time. It's also during this stage event proceeds by exchanging between network nodes, and it also collects the data. Then finally, we have the step 10C, which is also known as the post-simulation analysis phase in OMNeT++. And what happens in this stage is that after the simulation execution is completed, the data collected during the simulation is then analyzed. And finally, it involves also evaluating the performance metrics, as you can see here, and studying the network behavior, drawing conclusion based on the simulation you can see on the image here. So basically what step C does is that it implements the AODV routing protocol to dynamically establish routes between the devices. It also creates routes when needed to reduce overhead and conserve the network sources. And also it maintains the route and compares its performance with the static routing and default routing. And then forward, we have the step 10B, or which is also known which gives us an image of the unconfigured routing table, which you are gonna see right now. And this table is unconfigured, as I said, allowing us to use default routing behaviors. And it also, the device will use standard routing protocols to determine the best path for data transmission. And it also analyzes the network traffic and observes how devices automatically establish routes. And it finally evaluates if the default routing is sufficient for the network efficiency, as you can see here. And then finally, we have the step 10A, which is also known as the static routing based on error rate, which you are gonna see right now. And actually, the step 10A configures the static route between the network devices based on error rate metrics, which means that it chooses the one with the lowest error rate. And it also involves manually setting up routes in each device configuration. And then it finally evaluates the network performance based on error rate metrics, and it identifies if the chosen route efficiently minimizes error and optimizes the network performance. And finally, after running all this, we then have the simulation table, which I'm gonna show right now, which is the graph of step 10C, and which gives us a final output of the simulation. Actually, step 10A and B, after running the simulation, we get no result. But for step 10C, when we run the simulation, we get the graph, because that's where everything